Well, g'day and welcome to another edition of Chewing the Fat. Bevo here today down at Alberton Oval, and we're joined today by 104-game superstar from the Freo Dockers, now the skipper of the Port Magpies, and also added to the Port Power List mid-season draft this year, which is just fantastic news. Before we introduce him, I'll give a big shout-out to Anytime Fitness down at Glenelga. Thanks for looking after us, boys. Cam Sutcliffe, great to have you on Chewing the Fat, mate.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me.
So talk to us through your career. You're born in Kadina, and how'd you end up at the Freo Dockers?
Yeah, so I played most of my junior football on the York Peninsula for Kadina, and was sort of picked up with West Torrens from there. So yeah, played a lot of junior footy there, and then was lucky enough to play a few league games and get cited, and off to WA I went. So to get an opportunity in the AFL was always my dream, and to play in Fremantle didn't really bother me where I went, but Freo was good.
And obviously 104 games, a lot of footy. What were some of the highlights of that footy career with the Dockers so far?
Yeah, well, definitely the grand final that we played in. Unfortunately, a losing one, but even the games leading up to that, we played Geelong at Skilled Stadium at the time, and we were pretty big underdogs, and to come away with a win there was pretty amazing. And then the home prelim that we played against the Swans that year as well was pretty riveting. So there's been a few over the journey, but those three probably stick in mind.
What was Rossi Lyon as a coach? Because he's a bit of a grumpy bugger when you see him on camera. Is he pretty laid back, or is he what you see on TV?
He's a good man. He's also a very good coach, but I think when he gets his coaching head on, he can be pretty ruthless. But away from football, he's a really relatable guy, and he's got your back regardless. So he's a really good person, and I think probably to the media and to people that don't really know him that well, he may come across that way.
And what made you decide to come and join the Magpies as skipper? It's great to have you, by the way. But what made you decide to do that rather than sort of playing for the Woodville West Torrens Eagles?
It was probably the opportunity to get drafted again. I guess in that respect, probably made the right decision. I was probably gonna go to Woodville if I didn't come here. So came to the club, met a few people, and sort of fell in love straight away. So to have the opportunity to be back on a list and to be captain of the Magpies still, it's a great honour. So yeah, I've really enjoyed it and embraced it.
Now, the mid-season draft has been a bit of a controversial one. Some people love it, some people hate it. But your name was called out, which was just fantastic, by the Power, put onto the main list for the Power, so you can play for them this year or next, whenever it might be that you get a gig. This must have been a huge thrill for you.
Yeah, it really was. I guess I did come here with the feeling that I'd like to be redrafted in the mid-year draft, knowing that it might happen, but there was no dialogue between myself or the club that might be a possibility until probably 2 weeks out. So, to get another opportunity and to be home as well, around family and friends, I'll cherish that. And I'm just hoping to get a game when I can.
Fingers crossed. And let's talk about the Magpies season. Sitting fourth on the ladder, so going on quite nicely. What do you think you need to do to improve to, put yourself right in the chance for a flag this year?
Well, this week I think we have 23 AFL listed blokes playing, so that's definitely going to help if we stay injury-free at the top level. We're going to have the best personnel out there at SANFL level, but I think it's just stringing those consistent performances together, which the last month we have, and we've beaten some pretty good teams in Sturt and Norwood, and even North on the weekend brought it. So just stringing those consistent performances together.
And the Power Boys, bit of a yo-yo side this year as they've been called in the media. Great win against the Cats a couple of weeks ago, not so good against the Dogs. How do they beat the Crows in the showdown?
Yeah, you're right. Pretty disappointing loss last week, but the game against Geelong showed what we can really do, and I think if we can bring that sort of effort and consistency of effort against the Crows, that'll go a long way to helping us win. But clearly, it's going to be a midfield battle. They have a lot of big guns, and so do we. So it'll probably be whoever wins it out of there will win the game.
Now, both footy clubs are the Power and the Dockers. I'm sure you come across your fair share of characters, but who's been the funniest you've played with either club and why?
Oh, not sure about the funniest, but, there's always a few pests. So, Hayden Ballantyne was definitely a pest at Fremantle. The old cup above the locker, and you go to open it in the morning and you're already in a bad mood because, you've woken up early and you get this cup of water or Gatorade over your head. But, he always used to do the deep heat and the jocks as well. So, not to me, thankfully, but a lot of the younger guys copped a bit more punishment than what I did.
And did you guys get him back, or?
Oh, we tried to, but then he'd just probably go tenfold on it and just, make it even worse. So you'd probably better not to poke the bear.
What about the Power Boys? Anyone there that you like to sort of dob?
So far, there hasn't been anyone to really no hazing as such, but I know Big Bill Frampton, he likes to joke around a little bit. Sam Gray as well. So I'm sure I'll see a bit more of that towards the end of the year.
Well, Cam Sutcliffe, it's been a pleasure having you on Chewing the Fat. Thank you so much to Lucas Fonton for being our makeshift cameraman, doing a great job for us. All the best for the rest of the season, and hopefully you can make that debut with the Power this year, mate.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so much. Cheers. See you next time, guys.